everybody, welcome back to Wow Mom Cooking. Today we're going to be making sides, all those little things you add to your meals. So we're going to make some tomato salad, some Gairdinaire or Gairdinaire, whichever way you want to say it, some pickled green beans. We're also going to make some refrigerator pickles, which are delicious. So grab your pads, your pens, and your aprons, and let's get cooking with Wow. We have a lot to cover today, so I did a lot of this prep work before we're going to show it to you. Instead of showing you how to cut tomatoes and how to cut up onions, which we've already done, I'm going to show you how to put everything together. We're going to start with our tomato salad. I've already cut up the tomatoes. I used two different kinds. I used some beefsteak tomatoes, and I also used what looks like really dark or dark green or brown. These are some heirloom tomatoes. They're really tasty. They add a little something, and I love to have something extra in there. What we're going to add to this is one red onion. I've got it right here, already chopped up, and I chopped it in two different ways. Some of these pieces are big, like this. We're going to add those all in. You can break them up. When you stir it all up, it's going to break them up anyway. And some of these pieces are small. I know some people in my family like the big pieces and some like the small, so that way everybody gets a little bit of everything. So we're putting them all in here. Okay. The other thing we're going to add is some garlic. I need to chop up a little bit of it. I've got a couple pieces here. They're already smashed. So we're just going to give these a little fine chop. Smells yummy. This is really good if you can make it a day ahead of time. I'm making this actually for something, for a dinner we're going to in a day or two. So I try to do that because it gives all the flavors a chance to really blend together and taste even better. Okay, we're going to put this garlic in. So that was about 2 cloves of garlic. If they're really big, just use 1. If they're small, just use 2. If not, whatever you like is fine. We're going to stir this up. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add some really good olive oil and some really good balsamic vinegar. The olive oil we're using today is a Meyer lemon olive oil. Again, this is what I got at the Gourmet Experience. It's Gianni's Fine Foods. You can find them at farmers markets locally in San Diego, or you can probably go online and just find them at, let's see, giannisfinefoods.com. So we're going to use some Meyer lemon olive oil. We don't want to use too much of anything. What we want to do with this is just, depending on how many tomatoes you use is going to depend on how much oil you use. We want it to just coat everything. So we're going to pour a little bit in, stir it up, and then pour some more in if we still need some more. We don't want these to be swimming, but we don't want them to be dry either. Okay, now see, you can see they're nice and shiny. There's a little bit of oil at the bottom, a little bit of juice from the tomatoes too, and that's just about perfect. Now what we're going to do is add in some balsamic vinegar. This balsamic, I haven't even opened it yet, is a Hearty Berry balsamic. Now I have used lots of their balsamic vinegars and they are delicious. We're using this one because with the lemon, this really tastes good. It's a very good combination. It's good on fruits or vegetables or anything that you want to add a little bit of sweetness to. Makes it delicious. So again, we're just going to pour enough in here to kind of give a little coat to all the tomatoes and onions. Now you'll see it's a little bit thick. That means it's a high quality balsamic. If you get some really runny balsamic, it might still taste really good, but it's not going to add a lot of the depth of flavor that some of this really amazing balsamic vinegar can. We're going to stir it all up again. Oh, it's starting to smell wonderful. Now I am going to put just a little bit more in here because I don't quite think we got enough once we stirred it. Now that should be plenty. This is a balsamic you could also cook down for a syrup and would be really great with desserts. Okay, now I'm going to show you again. We've got our tomatoes and onions and garlic in here. You can see there's some juice in here, and that's really great. What's going to happen is this is going to sit in the refrigerator. We're going to cover it and leave it in there so that it can soak up all those yummy flavors, and then when you eat it tomorrow, it's going to be amazing. You won't believe it, and I guarantee you're going to love it. Now, the other thing you can do, this is an option, and I always put some in here. We're going to put a dash of sea salt, and we're going to put a dash of ground peppercorns. Not everybody likes it. I do. Everyone I serve it to loves it. Something you can leave out if you don't think you need it. So one more stir and we are done with this. This looks perfect. I'm going to cover it and get it in the refrigerator, and we're going to go on to our next item. Okay, now that we have our tomatoes in the refrigerator, we're going to move on to our Gairdinaire. It's really simple. What we're going to do is I've already pre-cut up some cauliflower, some carrots, red peppers, yellow peppers, and we're gonna make a little spicy version this time. You don't have to put these in, but I've got some jalapenos that are already sliced. Sometimes we put celery in it. This time we're not going to because I want those bright, vibrant flavors and bright, vibrant colors, and I don't think that the celery kind of goes with that. So what we're gonna do is start with some crushed garlic. I've already crushed all this up. We're gonna put a few pieces down at the bottom and a few pieces of jalapeno. Now, I put a little bit of oil in mine because I just like the way it adds some flavor to it. We're just going to put just a little bit to cover what's down here. This is a garlic flavored olive oil, so it's going to add a little bit more flavor to what we're doing anyway. And then we're going to layer. Put some cauliflower in there. Put some of these yellow peppers. We'll put some carrots. We're going to do some red pepper, and we're going to do it again. Now, the other thing we need in here is our shallots. We're going to use shallots today instead of onions. We're going to put those at the top. Kind of smash this down a little bit so we can get some more. Get some more of those peppers in there. And a couple more carrots. Now notice we only put a little bit of the jalapeno because we don't really want it to be really, really spicy hot. We just want it to add some flavor. Now what we're going to do to this is I've already mixed 2 parts of vinegar to 1 part of water in a big pitcher, and we are going to fill this. Perfect. It just covers everything, and then what we're going to do is put the lid on. Stick this in the refrigerator, and this is going to be beautiful. We're going to shake it in the next couple of days, and in the next day or two this is going to start to soak up all that flavor and take on everything that we just put in there, and it's going to be delicious. You'll taste the garlic, you'll taste all the different peppers and everything that combines with it. Now there are some options on this. You can add some fresh basil or some fresh cilantro or maybe some peppercorns, and we'll probably put some peppercorns in some of our jars here. We've got a lot to make, so we'll make these a little bit different. I'll show you one more time. We've got some garlic. We've got a couple of jalapenos. And remember, those are optional. A little bit of olive oil again. And again, this is the garlic flavored. And then we layer. We've got the cauliflower. We've got our yellow peppers. Got some carrots. We've got some red peppers. Some more cauliflower, and we'll smush it down just a little bit, and the shallots. Now we can add the rest of our peppers and our carrots again, and now we're going to fill it. This is really easy. This is something you can keep on hand. It'll keep for a long time even though we're not canning it because it's preserved with vinegar. I like to serve this on the side with a sandwich. My husband loves it that way. His friends eat it that way, so I've always got a jar of this on hand. When I run out, I just chop some more vegetables up, and you can reuse this vinegar too. Just stick something else in there. You could do anything you want to. So it looks beautiful. This is also something you could give out as gifts. Christmas time is coming. If you want to make something homemade that you want to give out to your friends, this is something that's perfect. Make a few jars of this ahead of time, stick it in your refrigerator, and take these with you as a hostess gift. It's perfect. So we're going to get some more of these jars made, and then we're going to move on to our next thing. Okay, now we're going to move on to our green beans. Some people love them, some people hate them, I know. So if you don't like these, just skip this part. This is really simple. We're going to put some granulated onion in the bottom of this jar. We're going to put a little bit of sea salt, some of our garlic flakes. We're going to put a clove of the smashed garlic, and we're going to put some of these shallots in there. Now this one's a little bit different than the others. We're going to do just a little bit different method of putting it together. Some ground pepper. Then we're going to pour a little bit of the liquid in here. About a quarter of the jar. Put this on real tight. Give it a good shake. Want to make sure that that salt that's in there is all emulsified and it's become part of the liquid. We don't want it to just sit there and do nothing while it's in here. Okay, now that we've got that in there, we're going to take our green beans and line them up. This is the more difficult of the things we're doing because they all want to fall over. So you can see what I'm doing is holding it at an angle, sticking them in here, trying to keep them all upright. We want to get this jar pretty full. If we can avoid them falling over, it's much better in the long run. It'll look pretty, it'll taste really good. Now these are fresh green beans that we got at a local produce stand. The tomatoes today came from a local produce stand also, and so did the shallots. So once we have these in here, I always like to top this off with one little piece of smashed garlic and one little piece of our shallot. Now we're going to finish filling it. There we go. Make sure everything gets covered. We're going to shake this up, and this is going to go into the refrigerator with all of our other yummies, and we will move on to show you how to make pickles. We're going to make two different kinds. We're going to make spears, and we're going to make just regular refrigerator pickles that are like a disc. So here we go. I'll put this away and then we'll get moving. Okay, now we're going to move on to our pickle spears. We're going to make these into dill pickles. So we're going to do a couple things a little differently, kind of like we did with the with our green beans. We're going to start by putting a teaspoon of salt into our jars and half a teaspoon of sugar. I use baker's sugar because it blends a lot better and it melts a lot better. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to put a full teaspoon of dried dill in each one of these. It smells so good. I love the fresh. I love dill. I think it's wonderful. If you have fresh, that works too. But to make this easy and make it go fast, we're just going to use this dried. Okay. Now before we put anything else in, we're going to add a little bit of liquid, just like we did with the green beans. And we're going to mix it up. We're going to do this with both jars. We want to give that dill a chance to add a little bit of water to it so it's going to mix a little better. And what we're going to do is shake this a couple of times while we're making it. So I'm going to make one jar at a time to show you. We're going to put some garlic in here. That's probably about a clove and a half of the smashed garlic. And then we're also going to put some more of the shallots in here, but we're going to break it apart to make sure that we don't have just a big chunk in here. Probably going to put about half of a clove of shallot. They kind of come in, they look kind of like garlic in their shape, but they taste more like an onion. So we're probably going to put about a whole shallot in here. Okay. One more piece should do it. We're going to continue to shake it. We just want to keep it stirring so that the dill gets more of that, more like fresh dill taste and more fresh dill appearance. Okay, we're looking good. Now again, these we want to put in so they're standing upright. And once the jar is full, we can't put any more in, just like this, what we're going to do is shake it again and then add some more liquid to it. Now this one's going to take a few days to make. You might want to make this weekend for next weekend, which is a really great way to do it. We're going to shake this up again. And then what we're going to do while this is in the refrigerator and it's making into those delicious refrigerator pickles, every day we want to open up the refrigerator, take these out, give them a good shake to make sure all the flavors are going where they should be, and then we'll put it back in. So this is another thing you could use for a hostess gift. Any of these things would be perfect. So we're going to put these into the refrigerator. I'm going to make my other jar, and then we're going to go on to our regular sliced refrigerator pickles. Not dill, just regular sweet for refrigerator pickles. All right, let's get the other jar. Okay, the dill pickles are done. We're going to put them in the refrigerator. Then we're going to get ready on our sliced pickles, our regular refrigerator pickles. Get this stuff out of the way. Okay, we've got our sliced cucumbers. Now, I used regular cucumbers. You don't necessarily have to get, you know, pickling cucumbers. They all work. You're just going to put these in the fridge for a couple of days, and then they're going to be yummy, and they're going to be disappearing out of your refrigerator anyway, so don't worry about it. So we've got those. I'm going to grab a couple jars, and we are going to get to work on how these go together. Same basic concept. These are definitely vinegar and water, 2 parts vinegar, 1 part water. We're not going to use the dill on these ones. We'll get rid of that. What we are going to do is use the salt and the sugar. So we are, once again, going to put a teaspoon of salt. But because these are sweet refrigerator pickles, we're going to put a teaspoon of sugar in here, kind of a heaping teaspoon. Really does make them taste better. Okay. Now, we're going to get our garlic back out. We're going to take a couple of these little pieces of garlic that happen when you get everything smashed up and put those in. Okay. Then we are going to add some liquid like we did the last time. We'll give it a swish. Only takes a few seconds for the salt and the sugar to dissolve and become part of the liquid. The salt's a little bit harder, but that's okay because we're going to shake them up as we go. Now, if you want to use a bigger jar, that's fine. The quart-sized jar for these things usually works a little bit better, but I've got these small jars and I love these, and like I said, these are perfect for hostess gifts, and I'm going to use some this week, so that's how it's going to be. Now, with our cucumbers, some of them, when I peeled them, I left a little bit of the skin on because it looks neat. Some of them, I peeled them and there's no skin left on them. It just kind of gives you a little bit of variety, makes them look nice. Now you can put these in there any way you want to, however you think you can fit the most in. We're going to drop some of them in sideways, see how we do. I think we're going to get quite a few in, even though they're small jars. You can kind of shove them in there too. Don't be afraid to smash them in there. They'll be fine. We're going to fill up both jars right now. Now it usually only takes about 1 cucumber for a jar. So however you want to do this is fine. However many you want to make is fine. So there we go. Get those smashed in there a little bit. Get a few more pieces in. Then once we're full, we are going to fill the rest with our vinegar and water solution. Now we're not going to fill it completely, because on this one, we're going to want to give it another shake, and then we'll add the rest of the vinegar to it. We want to make sure all that salt and all that sugar is completely dissolved by the time we stick these in the refrigerator. So that's why we're going to give it another good shake on both of them. You can kind of see the water gets a little, looks a little milky. All that is the sugar and the salt dissolving in there and making into one. Now you can see when the little slices are on there and you leave a little bit of the skin on the slice, you can see that, and it makes for some pretty color. The other thing you can do to add some color to these, if you want to make a spicy version, stick a red cayenne pepper in there and it looks beautiful. If you don't cut it, you don't slice it, you just stick it in there, it'll add just a little bit of flavor and a little bit of color and be something really pretty to put in there. So let's add the rest of our liquid. We want these to be very full, all the way to the top. A little bit comes out, that's okay, because what we want to do is make sure that they can soak everything up in there. Okay, we're going to give these one last shake. And then we're going to go ahead and put these in the refrigerator. Remember, every day you want to come in and shake them. These will be ready in 2 days, tops. They'll probably be ready tomorrow night to eat, but one more day would give them a little bit better flavor. So just give them a little shake as you open up the fridge to get your creamer for your coffee out in the morning or something, and then they'll be ready to have for dinner. Okay, everybody, let's go over what we did today. First, we've got our little refrigerator pickles. They're a little bit sweet. Then, in our refrigerator, we've already got our dill pickles that we're going to keep shaking up. We've also got our green beans. If you love green beans, you're going to love these. Now, the piece de resistance are our beautiful Gairdinaire. It looks pretty, it's wonderful, it tastes great. Now I'm going to show you one more thing. I told you these make a great hostess gift. Let me show you how easy it is to turn it into that. You want to take the ring off, leave the lid on, take some fabric. You could use your favorite color, whatever's good for the season, or your hostess's favorite color. Put that on there, screw that on, look at that. You've got a beautiful hostess gift ready to go with you. You're gonna love this, your hostess will love it. Share these with your family, share them with your friends, or just eat them yourself. Either way, thanks for hanging with us on Wow Mom Cooking today. We'll see you next time. Between now and then, you can always check us out on wowmomcooking.com, and we'd love to hear from you at 619-500-4WOW. See you next time. I'm gonna go eat some of this.